name's Kevin Tacher, and I'm the founder and CEO of Independence Title. Title insurance is an insurance policy that is unlike any other kind. It protects in reverse. So we're basically checking the history and research of a property, and then we go backwards to verify that there are no liens, judgments, foreclosures, association issues, claims to the property. So, we're really doing all of that extra research to make sure that when a buyer buys a property, they have the right to use that property for whatever they want. The philosophy at Independence Title is very simple. I was a former firefighter up in New York. I did part volunteer and part paid firefighting. And one of the important things I learned, I did it for 6 years, is that firefighters do something very unique that most people don't. And that's they're usually running in when everyone else is running out. And I get goosebumps every time I say it because they don't do it for the money. I guarantee there's not a firefighter or a police officer that run into an emergency thinking, I'm doing this for the money. So when I was a firefighter for 6 years, I said, when I moved to Florida, I moved 20 days before September 11th. August 20th, I signed my lease in Coconut Creek, Florida. And I said, building the philosophy of a company, I want to make sure that when we go in a deal together, we're leaving that deal together. So one of the important things that firefighters do very well is they run into a burning building together and they leave the burning building together, and they will never leave anyone behind. And that's something that we do very, very well, and every single one of my staff, they get it. They breathe that every single day to make sure we're going to get this deal closed no matter what it takes. And if for whatever reason we can't close the deal, there's no cost to you, but we're going to make sure we go through everything to see whether we can get it closed or not. And if we can't, we know we can't, and we're still looking out for you and protecting you. So I think that's by far how I've built this company for the past 15 years. And the philosophy behind all of my staff is that we go in the deal together, we leave the deal together, we all get paid. So some of the important things that we do as a title company that a lot of other title companies do not is, I think, customer service. I'm always the first one to tell clients that title insurance is title insurance, but it's the care that goes into the closing, the care that goes into the client relationship that is really and truly the most important thing that I think a real estate deal needs. So our office has over 12 employees. We can basically stop any employee at any time and put them on the job. So when a client calls and says, I have a rush closing, or a client says, we're sending you a package at 3 o'clock for a 5 o'clock closing, we're able to do whatever we need to do to get the file done. So our office consists of 12 employees, 5 licensed title agents. We have multiple people that can fund the transaction, which is very important. And it's that relationship that goes into it. We're backed by a national underwriter. So either way, whether it's my title company or another title company, the actual insurance policy is usually going to be written with one of the A-rated title insurance underwriters in the country. So the product is going to be the same. The prices vary, so people have to really understand the difference between one title company to another or one real estate attorney to another to see what are their charges and what are the charges for. What goes into a real estate transaction to say, hey, I'm being overcharged a little bit, or you know what, your charges are reasonable. So that's another thing that sets us apart from the competition is usually our charges are much less than our competitors, and we give that much better level of service for that same price. Yeah, when it comes to technology, our title company is by far one of the best in the industry. We have the closing cost calculator, which is for Android and iPhone. We also have it on our website. So if they went to our website, TitleRate.com, we have our downloads for all of our software on there. And the important thing about that is we actually wrote the programming ourselves, which is unlike any other title company. A lot of times you call a title insurance company, and believe it or not, they can't calculate title insurance without some type of application because they don't know how to manually do it. And I think that's very important. It sets us apart from the rest because we can calculate it. We wrote the code for our actual mobile app, and what's important is there's so many on the market now because once we did it, everyone did it. And the thing is that they're writing these apps and just duplicating them time and time again for multiple companies. So we were one of the first on the market, we're one of the most downloaded, and we're one of the ones that you don't have to have an internet connection in order to calculate. So our codes are actually built into our mobile app. So if you're inside a building and there's no reception, you don't have to try and connect to a website in order to get access to the mobile app to calculate. So again, very, very important that we can calculate closing costs. We know how to do it. We wrote the script to do it, and we published it on iTunes and the Google Play Store. I work with many clients buying and selling, whether it's the realtor representing a client, an investor looking to buy. You know, my years of experience and wisdom in the industry is what saves the deal. There are multiple clients that if you look at our YouTube channel, you can see all of the testimonials of clients that will say, we saved the deal. Whether it was we put a client in touch with a hard money lender because their financing was falling through. Whether it's we called the city and negotiated a settlement because there was an excessive lien on a property and we were able to get it released. Whether it's one of our investors that was buying using a land trust and trying to sell a property, and 3 or 4 title companies say we can't do it because there's liens against that same trust, we were able to prove our case that they were actually different trusts created different times to get the deal closed. So for people that are watching, now's the time to invest in real estate. Now's the time to buy a house. Interest rates are at an all-time low. They're giving away money banks. As long as you can find it, fund it, and then hold it. In other words, make your payments every single month. Even first-time home buyers, if you can afford that payment, now's the time to stop renting, buy a house, and have someone with the years of experience standing behind that title insurance policy, because it's the little things that come up that cause a problem in a closing. So it could be an old utility bill. That's where we step up and we just pay the bill and get the deal done. So there are a lot of things that are going to come up that most title companies are going to step back and say, someone has to pay this, we're not. I say, you know what, we're going to cover it, we're going to get the deal closed, my client's going to be happy, and send me 10 more clients, because it's all about the relationship. So it's very important when clients are buying and selling to understand the role of a title company. That's the one thing I always say, because we get the blame for everything. Anything that goes wrong, they're the first one calling me saying, you caused it not to close, you did this, you did that. And we're basically that central vent for every party of the transaction. And what's most important is we're managing everyone's money. You need to have trust in the person that is holding $3-4 million at any one time of clients' money, to make sure that you can trust them. They're going to do right by that money. They're going to disperse that money to who it needs to go to. And if you look up all of the stories around town, you can see across the country people that are being arrested for escrow fraud, for taking money, whether it was to make payroll this month, whether it was to pay their health insurance bill this month, pay their mortgage this month, whatever the case may be. And they have to realize the role of a title company is to protect your money as the consumer. So you as a buyer, you as a seller, you as a realtor or investor, we need to protect everyone's money. And that, if there's one thing I can share with everyone, it's just make sure you know who you're giving your money to and their history in the industry, before all of a sudden you go to closing and you find out that either the money's gone, a mortgage wasn't paid off, there's not enough funds to fund the transaction, and now you have to find out, how do you resolve this problem? Where if you look up someone from the beginning that you know, like, and trust, the deal's gonna close. You know the money's gonna be there when the time of closing happens.